Ouija, Origin of Evil is the sequel to the 2014 film Ouija, or Ouija, however you pronounce it, produced by Platinum Dunes, and the sequel is directed by Mike Flanagan. Now, I gotta admit, I didn't really watch the first Ouija when it came out, and I've never even seen the first one, but from what I heard was that the first one was really not that good, from what I hear from a lot of people, so I avoided that one for a while. And I didn't really go into this one expecting much, because this one is really just, from what the trailer showed me, it looked like it was your typical ghost movie, and it was just dealing with like the possession films like we've seen before. But it got me curious, because the movie sets up where you have this mother and her two daughters that are trying to pretty much help these people into trying to talk to the dead. And while it might seem like they're actually trying to do, and while it seemed like they're trying to do like a scandal for some of these people with the way that they're setting everything up, because throughout the course of this, they're having her daughters trying to like make it look like the ghosts are coming out when it's really just them messing with the people that are coming in the house. And so the whole movie deals with them using this Ouija board that the mother finds, and she's able to pretty much talk to the dead. And they realize that when they use the Ouija board, that they're able to talk to the dead. And not going to spoil anything, but this movie really did surprise me a lot. It's like, I went to this with completely no expectations, and the movie has actually really surprised me. Now, what I really liked, first of all, I really liked the performances in this film, especially the mother, especially the main mother in the movie. I thought she was really good, how she's very strong, and she just wants to try to make a best life for her daughters. And because there was an event that happened that caused her to do all this in the first place, and so as the movie starts to go along, you start to see what's becoming the reason why she's using this fortune teller to get it set up for the people that are coming there to ask to speak to the dead. And so I also enjoyed the two main girls too, the older sister and then the younger sister. And it's obvious when you see in the trailer that the movie's kind of focusing on the little girl, Doris. And yes, they do take a lot of time developing this, because I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's something that causes her to pretty much go into like this weird. She seems to be not really in the head, and so the movie deals with pretty much their personal story involving the dead, with them speaking to the dead. But there's also a twist to it, which I won't reveal. But it really surprised me with how they bring it out towards the end of the movie. And so I gotta admit that the movie from the technical standpoint, the movie feels really like an old school style 70s movie, because the movie actually uses the old school Universal logo from the 60s. And it also has like this really cool opening credit sequence where it pans into the camera, and you see the credits like wipe away, and then you see a old font, like an old school, old style font they used for the title sequence, which I thought was very fascinating. And so the way that they set up the shots and the way that they handle the scares is pretty intense in some parts, especially with how they build mood with atmosphere, because we do get a lot of nowadays horror films that do a lot of obvious jump scares, and while there are probably a couple ones in this one, it's not to the point where it becomes annoying. They actually do use it, they time it very well, and they're actually able to set up a lot of intense moments that you really would expect from this kind of movie. And another thing too I liked is it was cool seeing Henry Thomas back on the big screen, because I'm a big fan of him, and I remember growing up seeing him in E.T. and also in Psycho for the Beginning, and so seeing him in the movie again was a treat. And I really liked how he plays this priest who is dealing with the loss of his wife, and he is trying to deal with his own personal thing of coming to the mother for help for trying to speak to the dead. So I really liked his story, where it was going, and I thought he pulled it off. I thought he was really great. Now there are some things I didn't really like about the film, but there's if the only con I did have with the movie is that it is very formulaic, and how you have your basic setup where in every typical ghost movie, something causes the ghost, the the entity to come to life, and it starts where someone either gets possessed or if there's a ghost or something. So it's very predictable into what they set up with the film, but it didn't bother me too much. And another flaw I did have is that they do use some obvious CGI, which I thought was a little excessive in some parts, but it didn't. But luckily they don't use it too much to the point where it took me out of the movie. So for the little parts that they did use the CGI, did kind of bother me, but they didn't use it too much. So that was really one of the things I didn't really like too much. But thankfully, they stick to a lot of majority. They stick to some practicals in this one, and they do stick to a lot of intense moments. Now, I do really recommend this one. Like, I've never even seen the first one, so for those of you who have seen the first one, let me know what you guys thought about that one and this one. And I really, for overall, I'm going to give the movie 8 out of 10. It's well worth checking out in the theater, and I think that if you really like seeing Ouija boards, and if you're into that kind of thing, you would definitely like this one. And I really like the way that they handled the emotional side to it too. What did you guys think of Ouija Origin of Evil? Comment below, and if you guys like what you see here, you can check out more of my videos here, and I'll be seeing you guys in my next review. I'll see you later.